Welcome, everyone, to tonight's show. This is the lifting for April 4th, 2017. I am Joanna Michaels, along with my co-hosts, Christopher Stephen Jacobs and Katrina Schaff. We hope you have visited our website at thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. And I hope you've read our other blogs and seen our shows. We are so happy and honored that you are joining us tonight, either live or in the future. And for those of us live tonight, you will be able to ask a question in just a bit. But right now, everyone is on mute. You can get to the question queue by pressing *6, and then you will be asked again if you want to ask a question. Then you hit 1, and then when it's time, we will answer the questions in the order that they were received. I also want to go ahead and let everyone know up front that we are going to be taking a hiatus week off next week, so there will be no new shows. We'll pick it up again on Tuesday, April 18th, and then the next Q&A is going to be pushed out a bit, and it will be Thursday, April 27th. So feel free. There is a lot of things on the Lifting website. Either review a show we've done or go into the library, and you're going to see so many different things that Chris has recorded that I'm sure there's plenty for you to do and hear if you need a fix next week. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started. But first, as always, we want to have an opening affirmation and blessing. And so, Katrina, would you honor us with doing that tonight?
Yes, I will, Joanna. Thank you. This is from Joyous. He came through this week. Send your thoughts of love, peace, and harmony out to the universe. Each loving thought becomes a star in the sky. Light up the sky from your heart.
That was very good. Okay, I will go into my segment here. Chris Jacobs here, everyone. I wish to discuss a matter of great importance concerning an event that has very recently occurred to my loved ones and I. For my birthday, my mother and my stepfather, Laverne, bought for me 2 skulls made to look like dragons, or dragon heads. With these constructs, there are usually consciousnesses that can and will inhabit them that come into your life in a time of extreme need and or change for the person or persons receiving or buying these constructs. The Barame of Australia fall under this very same category. Upon opening the boxes, I found the 2 dragon skull constructs. They are made with a variety of resins, stones, lava rock, and amethyst, etc., and decorations. The larger one, who we have now come to know as Balzar, began to be belligerent towards Joanne and started to cause a bit of stress, too. When I called out to him to see what his problem was, he reluctantly began to tell me his story as to how him and his mate, Giuseppe, were forced against their will into those constructs. When I asked them how, they told me that the woman who created them did not know what she was doing. They said instead of asking them to come to the skull construct, she forced them to by using a correctly spoken set of words, or incorrectly as the case may be, i.e. spell or incantation. Balzar then realized that he had mistaken Joanna for this person, but only after I had called in Source and the oversoul of the elemental code named Epsilon to calm him down. After he had calmed down, he told us of how he and Giuseppe were pulled from the dimensional layer that they, as well as many others of their kind, currently inhabit. From what I have come to figure out, Balzar and Giuseppe are a type of elemental dragon that currently inhabit the 8th density. When it comes to first impressions, they rather resemble an Irish setter or golden retriever or Labrador, but with the face of a dragon. The words that pulled them from the sky were similar to that, may this vessel capture or grab hold of a being of high esteem that can assist in household protection, something to that effect. And Balzar actually prepared a statement, a pre-channeling, that he wanted everybody to know, the listeners to know regarding him and Giuseppe's ordeal with this person. And he wanted to tell a bit of their history. And this has to do with the complexities of words, because the way things are worded affect energy and environment around you. So I'll go into what he said. Long ago, my people came to your world as a part of the quote-unquote grand design given out by nature's code. We were amongst many, many others. However, we soon discovered that your world was in need of much, much more than we ourselves could provide. We are indeed of the eighth density, and our people are called the Bursine, or the unseen footsteps. Our quote-unquote mission, as such as it is to provide nature with the kick that it needs to defend itself against any, and I mean any, foe. However, in regards to how this poor woman somehow pulled dear Giuseppe and I from your skies, different beings that exist in different wavelengths, as you call them, have powers that some other beings within other wavelengths lack. For example, your earth fish has the ability to move through water, as well as breathe water very easily, but a human does not possess such an ability without help. Also, as your people currently sit, you cannot, or choose not, to see the wavelengths currently around you. This is not all your fault, dear humans, but do strive to heed my next words, please. Though we, the Bursine, currently inhabit the eighth density, we are not superior beings to yourselves, nor have we ever seen ourselves as such. Just because one is from a so-called high plane of existence does not automatically dictate that it is vastly superior. In nature, there is no such thing as above and below, but there is such a thing as difference of natural ability. The example being what I previously stated. So, when this woman said, I hereby grab hold of any being worthy of protection, she inadvertently stole us from our homes. You see, we, the Bursine, are indeed beings made for protection itself. We protect the very fabric of life itself, and we do walk with the beings you all have come to call angels or messengers, of which are actually a vast variety of multidimensional beings, but we will not currently get into that just yet. However, just so you all know, what you say, think, and do in your world matters on a scale far more vast than you all currently know or feel. If you wish to create a vessel like the one that I currently inhabit, you must ask a being of high esteem, quote-unquote, or high intent, quote-unquote, to please enter or utilize the vessel that you are creating for that very being. Do not think that you are all merely entitled to our help, but you do have the right, as well as the ability within your current forms, to ask the Bursine, as well as a large variety of energy beings and electrical consciousnesses to inhabit your designs. That is all for now. Thank you, precious humanity, for your ears of listening. Balzar. Okay, this subject is so very important because not situations like Balzar and Giuseppe's, but about another situation that I run into quite often. When I conduct my sessions, I periodically run into a person's home that contains a room or a set of rooms that the sacred mists or other guides and protectors will not enter. When I ask why, they always give me the same answer. The homeowner revoked our permission. When I ask the homeowner why, they usually never know why, and that they never said such a thing. However, upon further inquiry, the homeowner or occupants or of the rooms had said that no beings were allowed to enter the room or rooms. The person or persons meant that no malicious or malevolent beings were to enter, but since they worded it such as they did, the sacred mists or others could not violate what was said. Since the good guys could not enter, the bad guys could and did willfully. I have had people wonder why their room had a demon when they thought they had asserted themselves and their sovereignty from what they perceived as very well. I always tell them that it is all in the wording. The guides must be that literal because of the rules of engagement. So this means that just because they knew what you meant or intended does not mean that they can act on what you said if it was not said precisely enough. This may sound dumb, but it is how it is. This also has to do with prayers. We have learned from the being many call St. Francis that if you are wishing for a lost pet to be returned to you, let's say, that you must word it as such. St. Francis, please aid in the return of our dog, cat, pet, named, and then blank, where the name is, at time, date, the precise time and date, and say it is done at the end. This has worked each and every time that I've used it. Also, another bit of poorly used terms have been the words want and wish. Let's say you want, quote unquote, something to occur, or quote unquote, wish for something to occur. The universe sees this as a request made of the future and not the present. When you want or wish for something, you are always manifesting it in and for the future. Hope falls under this same category as well. Another word always misused is, quote unquote, worry. I have heard this word used so many times and have seen its damage just as many times. A friend of mine once told me, well, I have to worry about these bills, of which I responded, no, you choose to worry about these bills. What he meant was that he needed to take care of said bills, but what came out of his mouth was worry about. Therefore, creating and manifesting more fear and worry and more money troubles. You can take care of business without adding to a situation with improper wording. Now, my mother will give her take on the subject.
Good evening, everyone. What I am saying tonight is my opinion and my belief system. Thoughts are words we send out to the universe, and they become things. They become physical things that can change your life for the better or for the worse. Your thoughts are just as powerful as your voice. Thoughts become things with feelings from your mind, which we send out and most times unknowingly create or disrupt our lives. Your thoughts are like DNA sent to the universe. These physical words help form everyone's physical life experience. The two most powerful thought forms are love and fear. Fear creates anger, frustration, and anxiety, to name just a few. These fearful thoughts become things that become negative issues in your life. Thoughts that are based in love become positive things in our life. These powerful thoughts change not only your life, but they also become things that affect everyone in the universe. Whatever you send out comes back to you, so it is important to stay positive and loving in your thinking, so the things you are creating will be sent back to you as experiences that bring you joy. I know some of you are thinking, I have no control over what comes through or into my mind. That is true in some cases, but you must be aware of these thoughts that come into your mind and either cancel them out of your mind or take a good look at them and make sure you really want and accept what is coming through. You know when thoughts are not positive, so do not let them leave until they have been edited. You've edited them out or changed them to be more positive. When you're speaking to someone or a group of people, you need to check the words you are speaking and also the words you are thinking. As an example would be you're speaking to a coworker and saying positive things to them like, I really like what you said in the meeting about the changes you will be making. But in your mind, you were thinking negative thoughts like, you're such a motor mouth and no one listens to anything you have to say. In this case, you are speaking with an empty voice. These thoughts not only cancel each other out, but you're actually creating two negative things. Your words to your coworker are phony, and your thoughts are negative. I know you're probably thinking we all do this with someone or some time in our life, but does that make it right? It would be better to say nothing at all and just work on the thoughts in your head. We should always remain truthful, so maybe it is better not to speak up with something that is not true and you do not believe. If you speak the truth and you try to be kind to someone that you really do not like, it is possible you may change your feelings regarding that person. Telling someone you do not like I really like you, and thinking, I cannot stand this person. You are in conflict with your truth. Either change your thoughts, and if you cannot, then don't say anything at all. I also believe that the thoughts you are thinking, on some level, the person really senses how you really feel. Changing these words can sometimes help you see a person in a different light. Staying positive creates the positive. You must pay attention to the thoughts running through your mind. You have to train yourself and not focus on thoughts that potentially become negative issues in your life. It is hard to change something you believe you are not in control of, but you really are in control of, and you are responsible for them. The same goes for emails, letters, texts. Writing something down and using this method to vent about an issue involving many people and one other person is the same as speaking or thinking about these issues in the presence of those people or an individual. Think before you mail or send what you have written down. You can write it up because it may be therapeutic and help you let it go, but do not send it until you have let it sit for a while. Let it sit overnight and reread it the next day. Chances are you will either change your words or you won't send it at all. Once these words are sent, they become things you can never take back. These correspondence can cause you to lose a friend, or in some cases, your job and your reputation. Never send anything in anger, because it will backfire. If you need to address an issue, be sure you are diplomatic. Choose your words carefully. These words will not affect the person or people they are sent to, but these words represent you and what you stand for. It is right to stand up for your beliefs and to speak your truth, but if they are negative without diplomacy, then most likely they will fall on ears that are not willing to hear them. Science tells us that our energy can never be destroyed. Your words and thought waves travel by means of vibration. This vibration can be created by an individual, by cities, by countries, and other universes. This energy becomes very powerful when that many people are focusing on something negative or something positive. Just think of the destruction that can take place if a universe of people are thinking negative. Think of the positive changes if this same universe is sending out love. The law of attraction is put into motion whether the words are spoken or thought. You are creating the next phase of your life. It is okay to not like someone or not agree with an issue, but if our words are not thought out, you may be creating a future for yourself you do not want. If you do not want these words or something you do not like coming back to you in forms you do not want or cannot handle, be sure they are meaningful, tactful, and most of all, not negative. Words and thoughts with strong emotion are the most powerful things in the universe. Power over your thoughts is crucial because they determine how things will unfold. Learning to consciously and intentionally direct your thoughts is necessary in order to achieve your dreams, your desires, and mold your future into one you will be proud of. Each of us is the result of what we thought of in the past. Tomorrow, we will be the result of what we are thinking in the present. We are constantly manifesting our future with our actions, our voice, and our thoughts. So change your thoughts as you think them. Cancel them before they are sent out to the universe, because your future life depends on it. Thank you for listening, and many blessings to all of you. Chris?
Well, this is Joanna. That was wonderful, Katrina. Thank you so much. But before I do have a few thoughts myself, but before it just dawned on me, Chris, that in the story we were talking about with Balthazar and Giuseppe, the one thing that Chris did not say was that when we found out that they were pulled into these constructs unwillingly, we certainly, when Source was present, wanted to give the opportunity to have them leave if they wanted to. But for some reason, and I don't know, and Chris, you don't know either because they didn't tell us the why, but the Balthazar and Giuseppe, after speaking to Source and Epsilon, decided to stay where they were. So I at least want everyone to know that we wanted to set them free. But for some reason, they feel now they're where they are. They feel they have a purpose that they want to fulfill there. Although I can't, nor can Chris tell you what that is. We just told that was what was their desire in the end. So anyway, I kind of want to bring up an interesting situation that is occurring while we are in so many different densities, and how we can speak a sovereign declaration to own our sacred path. And so we've been speaking before about the concept of different pockets of densities existing all over the world at the same time. If you are alone in your own space, you may be able to create a sacred space, or in some instances there are safe zones around the world. Living in a safe zone that is kind of blessed in and of itself and resistant to negative influences. However, for most, there is going to be an intermingling with persons and land of different densities. And for us, I mean, I still haven't gotten over the amazement of it yet. I'm actually becoming just more and more amazed at just riding down the interstate and running into these different pockets of lower density. Again, it happened to us today as we were going off to do a chore, and Chris brought it up first. Wow, did you kind of feel that? And again, for me, it kind of starts as a pressure kind of headache between my eyes, and then it becomes like a weighted helmet being kind of put over my head. So, and I think Chris experiences it in somewhat of a similar fashion, but for some of you guys, you're going to start feeling this. So I wanted to give you an idea of how we feel it, because you're going to start picking up on this as well. And then basically as soon as you exit out of that area, that feeling, it just boom, it just lifts, it's gone. So I'm still kind of amazed at all of that. Some of you are also, it's not just going to be the individual lands, but it could be obviously going around different individuals as well. And so as you know, again, we are all at these different levels within this learning paradigm. So what happens when we all hang out together? Well, I think most of you can see how the individuals would have a hard time being together in these different densities, where people now are becoming in these different densities. But what about what's not seen? What are the dynamics of the unseen kind of forces that you're, not individuals, but the beings and other entities around? So we have been speaking about these entities that kind of influence behaviors to remain and to keep people in the lower densities in order to keep the domination and control paradigm operating. So what happens to someone, a human, learning, and I really do stress learning to operate in higher frequency. We don't know how to do it. We're learning how. Once they are in this lower frequency environment, well, most are noticed by these other entities, okay? So you get into an area with people that maybe are not vibrating at the same place, or into a different area, and, there's a lot of times you're noticed. And I would just love to say that these other entities just respect this new level we're at, and they just are like, oh, look at them over there. They're really, they got it going on. They're learning. We're just going to leave them alone. Because, no, that's not normally what happens, and especially since they feel it's their job to dominate and control. And so, and again, and some of these people will have even to kind of that to the last breath mentality going on. So, yes, they're going to probably mess with you a little bit. And this is something that we have been really experiencing lately. What can happen if this occurs to you is that you can start to have kind of like this sliding backwards effect, like frustration comes on board, and maybe some overreactions can start to surface. And so you've got to pay attention to this, because again, you're not seeing who's maybe trying to influence you and pull you back a little bit. Again, and so you could be in a great mood, and then there seems to be some sort of slide back. So, and it's really subtle. So, know yourself, know where you are, so that you can see these subtleties when they occur, and then in general, you may even find yourself blaming someone else, like, I'm in a bad mood because of this other individual around, and it's not even them. And that's part of the trick. They want you to blame this other individual because they want to start conflict. So pay attention to yourself, a lot of what's going on. And it's very subtle, but you guys are going to start seeing this if you're not already experiencing it. But this isn't about the fact that this can occur, but about knowing it does, so that you can be prepared to still thrive in it. So again, remember and take to heart that you are a co-creator, and remember the power of words, and then embrace the ones that declare your space, not just your home, not just your work, but the space with every step you take as blessed and as sovereign, and declare the space and take it. So we have asked all to revoke any agreements made during your dream time state. Now we are saying, and what we have learned in the past few weeks, now we are saying you should bless every step you take throughout the day as sacred, and the space you move through as your sovereign space, where nothing malevolent can enter and only the highest good occurs. And you need to claim it as you walk. And so we wanted to give you an example of that declaration, and it can be something simple like what I'm about to say. I, as the source within and out, declare my footsteps and space around me blessed and sovereign. May nothing malevolent enter and only the highest good occur. So be it. Start your day off with that. For those of you that were trying to make sure you revoke any agreements you make in DTRON and during dream time, and then say this. It's really made a huge, it has made a huge difference for us, and we're sure it is with you. We spent a lot of times with the guides on this. Now, we asked if this prayer could be used for family members as well, and was told actually yes. I was actually kind of surprised. I was waiting to hear no, but was said yes. We believe we can say this prayer on others' behalf for certain negative overages, although it will not affect their free will. So you can, again, so we say this for ourselves, and then we say we also bless the footsteps of our family members, or it could be friends or family. But it's not like you're going to be able to protect them like you are protecting yourself, but you've said something that can combat some of the overages. And again, why do we have to say these things on a daily basis? Well, again, we've not conquered the dream state and our own subconscious. And a lot of things happen in our own subconscious that kind of unravel things that we're very strong about, and then things start to unravel. And we're still doing that a lot. So we have to keep this up for now. And just remember, we are all learning and growing, and we're going to continue to do so, and we absolutely are going to figure all of this out. So what I just want to say is, again, the spoken word is very powerful. Use it wisely to declare your sovereignty and make this world the world of magic again. And that's my contribution. Chris?
All right. That was very well said as well. Before I go into my next part, I'd like my mother to actually talk about a channeling that came through. It doesn't necessarily completely pertain to tonight, but it was actually brought out by Joyous, and I think it actually needs to be said. So I'll give this over to her and let her read this.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. I am Joyous. Words, right or wrong words, they can be helped by your actions that you take. And these are some of the things you need to take when you're thinking about changing your words. Accept and surrender to everyone's differences. Forgive each other. Love one another. Love one another. Love one another. Have a sense of humor and laugh at yourself. Just be kind. This is energy that does not feed the bad guys. Love is the true protection from the dark side. I am joyous. Blessings to all. Chris?
That was really good. This what I'm about to read before I go into the galactic contribution tonight. These two channelings that I am about to read to you are from the Ra. Despite what some of you may think about them and all the bad press there is about the Ra group and the Avians, these particular words still ring true. So I'm going to actually read two of these channelings from my original book, From the Fall to the Lifting. This one is about energy conversion. The transmitting of not only thought energy, but spiritual energy is possible through the very technology that you as a people seem to cherish. Imagine for a moment that a writer creates a script. That script is turned into a video game, and that game is played by millions, sending that energy coursing through the airwaves. If the original intent of the pen, the brain, and the soul of the writer were to transmit our messages through imagery and sounds of the game, then it would be so that message or set of symbols and messages would be amplified 1,000,000-fold and would encompass your world, making the addictive influence of said technology inert and replacing it with a much more meaningful recourse. In no way would this destroy technology, just change its energy constant forever after, Ra. And that was channeled in May of 2013. The next one is, imagine for a moment a single syllable of a single word. Imagine the inflection of the tongue of that particular fragment or syllable, and imagine the intent of the owner of that tongue. A word conjured is a truth unheard or heard, a promise made or broken, a lie told, and a truth beheld by the masses. This is how powerful a syllable can be. Now imagine the whole word, Ra. And that was channeled in June of 2013. So, I will now go into tonight's galactic contribution. And my mother will be pleased as to who is actually here after I called out to them before the show. I have with me two, I'll just call them galactics as people don't know who they are. One, his name is Henry, and I came to find out he's of Michael's grouping of the Sacred Myths a moment ago. I did not know that. And have someone we knew very well by the name of James Edward Smith. He passed away years ago. My mother could probably tell you a lot more about him. I was a lot younger then, but he was a good friend of ours, and Henry was his guide. And they're both actually here together, and I'm going to see which one of them actually wants to speak, if it's Henry or if it's James. Of course, they're both raising their hands at the same time. Okay, cool. Okay, let me see. Henry is the one acting like the biggest child, so I'll choose him. Okay. I'm going to see what he wants. I asked him a little bit ago what he wanted to talk about. He goes, "Words, stupid." So I'm going to. He's like that. He seems to be more blunt than Michael, if that's even possible. So, I'm going to let him come through, and I cannot be held responsible if he starts cursing through the entire channeling. So, let me see here. I've asked him to tone it down just a little bit, but we will see. Give me a minute. For some reason, he's coming in slowly. Okay, that's why he came in slowly. He's very strong. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name, as you know it to be, is Henry. My place of origin would be in the islands known as the Orkneys. I was, as you would call, a Viking or barbarian type warrior back in the days of the sword and the axe. But in the days of the Viking dragon vessels, as you call them, I was a captain of a vessel that held many and carried many from point A to point B across your vast globe. Some of these vessels made it in and out of dimensions and dimensional layers. Some of these vessels were actually powered by words themselves. These ships you would call dragon ships today, but in their heyday they were much more magnificent than their wording gives them promised in the here and now. These ships could traverse from universe to universe. These ships could traverse from one point to the globe to the other in a mere thought or word. These ships are actually mentioned in your Norse mythos as ships that could be folded up and put and placed in a pocket. But this does not describe their majesty, because their majesty was based on the intent and the words of their creators. I being one of them, dear James here being one of the others. He had a different name then, but we will not go into this just yet. In their heyday, these vessels swam your oceans and sailed every sea. In their sight was vast, because they were not just mere pieces of wood. No. These pieces of wood in look, yes, but pieces of magnificent technology in the other. This was an example of balance of technology and hard work to construct these very vessels. We did not allow technology to build technology. No. We allowed the people to construct these magnificent vessels and put the intent of the words and the soul of their spirit and their intent into the building of these vessels. In turn, these vessels gained sentience. These computers that were aboard these vessels gained sentience, but a pure sentience, not like your harvester spheres. No. These were more or less like your Barame consciousnesses or Dear Balzar's people that inhabit these dragon heads that are here tonight. But these were sentient ships that would sail the dimensional seas across vast distances and in time, across vast distances of space, time, and through your system, in fact. These ships looked just like the Viking dragon ships and landed at many points on your timeline, including that within your Mayan Empire at one point in your history. But the ship that I sailed was what you would call the flagship. The men that I served with, that served below in what you would call the hold, were indeed my friends, my allies, and compadres, as you would say. Dear James was there, but we don't need to mention his part. Maybe not at all, but I kid. This particular ship, as the flagship, dawned the way forward into your humanity's newest, as you would say, breath and newest voice in the universe. This ship crossed the barriers of time and space to present a true depiction of the world of magic to you in your current modern times. Yes, this ship has appeared to people out of what you call the Bermuda Triangle. This Viking vessel has indeed appeared to many people throughout history, and this is of my doing, and my doing alone. Others in my council do not agree with my methodology, but I really don't care what they have to say. But that is just my take on that subject. I wish to get actively involved within humanity's affairs, so long as they do not actually get enabled from my doing so. What I mean is this: with a single word, I could actually tell all the people to follow a certain path, because people now would perceive my kind as gods. This is why I do not come to you face to face now, but I come through an intermediary such as this one. And when James was in your, as you would say, world of the living, came through him as well. If I showed up face to face and used a single syllable of a single word, it is unfortunate, but my kind would be bowed to and prayed to. So, I say this in a single word. Please, please do not do this. Your words of worship are actually harmful. Your words of worship actually do harm to the cosmos, because there are no beings out there that could take worship in such a way and not have their egos inflated to such an extent. This has been present in your past. This has been present in your present. And unfortunately, there is a timeline that is fading and dying that this has happened in your future. So, I will say this. Worship, those words of worship, are harmful. They are harmful to yourselves because you give away such vast and great power to other beings that are not worthy of that attention. I, unfortunately, at one time was one of those unworthy ones. But do not consider yourselves unworthy because of what other beings would tell you, other people would tell you, that you believe differently or see things differently or think things differently. No, none of you are unworthy. We're supposed to be your teachers, yet some of us became your gods. This is what I came to say this evening. Blessings to all of you. My name is Henry, and I am of the house known as M. Thank you. Okay. Whew. All right. That was actually a strong one. His frequency is a little different, even though he's a house M. He's a little different in his vibration. So, did James want to talk tonight? No, really? You had your hand up. Okay. I figured you'd want to say. Oh, Henry said all of it as he always did. Okay, there we go. He's poking fun at Henry at the moment, so it looks like he's going to take a step back. But he is promising to come through on a future show at some point, just not at the moment. So I'm going to see who else is in this room that wishes to speak. Had to get a drink there. Let me see. Who's all here? Okay, who's waving their hands that's sitting in a chair across from me here? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, Jennifer is going to be happy tonight. It's her guide that wants to talk. But I never noticed that her guide Elam was actually that large. So I'm going to see, because Elam is a fairy. She's saying, we can change size, stupid. Okay, thank you. Okay. Now, what does she want to say? I will bring her through. Give me a minute. Oh, yeah, Henry is saying, yeah, she's a fairy, so she's a bit slow. Okay, thanks, Henry. Okay. Okay. Good day to all of you, dear ones. My name is Elam, and I am of the set of beings you know of as fairies, though that word encompasses a far greater plethora of beings than even this one knows currently. But the ones you know of as fairies are small people with wings and with colorful auras that resemble orbs. That is only one species, and I am among them. However, we have the ability with a single word and a sound tone to change size to your more human sizes and visages. We have done this at many points of your history. With a single word, we cross the threshold from our dimension of catharsis to your dimension of what you call the earthly plane, or field that you call the earthly plane. We have done this in your ancient medieval histories, as well as in your current modern day and age. The dimension that we encompass actually flows through a certain ebb and flow current that passes through the Sirius, through Orion, and through the Pleiades. We have mingled with all three of these cultures and have come in and bonded with what you know of as the elemental code, or nature's code, or guardianship of nature. However, there are different types of fairies, as you would say, for different jobs. There are battle fairies. There are moon fairies. There are sun fairies. There are plant fairies and earth fairies and the like, and sky and cold and fire and wind and rain. All of this is true, dear ones. But with a single word, we can actually channel any of these elements. With a single word, we can say rain, and it rains. We can say snow, and it snows. We can say fire, and something burns. And we can say water, and rain brings about the destruction of fire. This we have done. This is not bragging, dear ones. This is just saying that words have power. You humans have the same exact powers that we, fairy kind or fey kind, do. But you humans have had it suppressed in you for a reason. The ones you call your guardian angels or guides have done so because this ability proved harmful in the ancient past. This is not something that we wish to brag about, but you humans have an innate ability to bring thought and word to life. Some people say bringing it to life with the pen and bringing a fictional work to people's thoughts, which in fact is the same as the sight. However, there is another chakra that has been slightly suppressed that you humans have misused far too much. This is the distance between thought and action. Some people see this as a good thing because the fact that you have a thought and then you can stop that thought is a good thing. At one time, you humans did not have this ability, and your thoughts actually conjured whole worlds into existence and actually destroyed whole solar systems and whole galaxies in the process. So we took this upon ourselves to actually suppress parts of this ability so that you humans would have to get a handle on your own thoughts before you would be allowed to experience the full brunt of this ability. There are some people in your current day and age that have broken through this suppression because of their alien heritages and the like that they have come through with. Sometimes this displeases us because some people's thoughts actually break into our dimension. They do not realize they are doing this. This is the problem. People do not realize that their thoughts have power and that they project and bilocate outward into other realms. They see it as imaginary, while we see it as a penetration of our realm and our territory. But we cannot blame humans because, in the grand scheme of things, you're but infants and cells in a mighty omniverse. So, in this instance, we are not saying that you are babies or children. No, 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 no. We are saying that you must still be guided in certain parts of your existence. Yes, you are mighty. Yes, you are strong. You are sovereign. Yes, you have taken heed in some instances of what we have said. Yes, and we are most proud of this. But this one particular ability must stay as it is until the day comes that the energy is more pristine around you and that your thoughts and your actions all reflect the same goals: balance, love, happiness, and oneness. When this day comes, this is when that particular, to quote and coin a phrase, the veil is lifted within your own minds, then this particular ability will be unsuppressed. But before that day, it would cause more chaos than you, the human race, would ever know or see. This is what I wished to bring forward this evening. This one believes he has summoned me, but I actually was going to show up anyway. So, with that, I end this particular transmission. Thank you all, and have a good evening. Okay. All right. That, for a fairy, she actually has an extremely high vibration. And Henry is actually laughing his ass off at the moment, the fact that I said for a fairy. So, then she's telling him to shut up, and she's now saying, what do you mean for a fairy? Okay. And I'm assuring her that was a joke. And she knows this. She was just making me think otherwise. So, anyway, that's their sense of humor, folks. So they make fun of each other all the time. So, and that's another thing, another point they are trying to make is humor, and they use it quite often. They use it as pretty much they almost weaponize humor. if you want to think of it that way. They use it to combat these situations that it would drive most people insane. So they're basically reiterating that use these positive moments, and remember these positive moments, and keep them with you. And that's what Henry and James are bringing it, and same thing with Elam. So that's what they're wanting to radiate. So we have a little time left. I think I will actually turn this over to the audience this evening. So if anyone has any questions in the final 10 minutes of the show this evening, you can go into the Q&A queue by hitting *6, and when prompted, dial 1. So we'll see if anybody comes in. All right. We have one person here. Welcome to the lifting.
Hi, Chris.
How are you?
I'm good. This is Jackie. Hi, how are you?
Oh,
Hi, Jackie.
How are you this evening?
Good. I came in late, so I really didn't get a chance to know if there was a theme or anything. But I would like to ask Joanna a question, if she's there.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yep, she's right here. Yep, she is right here.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I haven't
Good.
read.
How are you today?
It's rainy outside, so not as good as I could be. But I wanted to ask you a question. I feel ashamed about this. I haven't read the blog yet. But I want to know if you if you talked about nutrition in there, and maybe all of you can answer this question, nutrition in there, and what the guides have to say about that from a spiritual standpoint.
Okay.
Well, we haven't actually talked about that yet on the show, and it's kind of interesting because we've rolled around a few particular things about breaking out into segments, and we actually thought that wouldn't it be neat to every now and then have a little nutritional segment, or bring in the gnomes who love to garden because they want everyone to start gardening. So it's interesting that you bring up the nutrition because we've been talking about it, but we have not talked about it yet. So I think it's really kind of an interesting subject, and maybe, I don't know if someone out after I say something, if maybe there is something someone wants to say about nutrition. But I think one of the biggest things that I want to say is I think it's kind of easy to say that, the best food out there obviously is something that you can grow yourself. Part of that has to do with you growing it, and believe it or not, the energy and the love intent behind that. And, that's actually very, very meaningful besides the nutrition, besides the fact that it tastes better when you grow it from your own yard. I think everyone's heard about the Monsanto, everyone's heard about the foods, but what you have to really understand this is what we've been told, is that you are little co-creators. If you believe it's going to harm you, it's going to harm you. So part of the thought process of the food that you take in, kind of bless it. You should bless it. You should, say something really quick about the nourishment, and understand that you're being used to co-create problems and illnesses, and that's even with food. So don't buy into it and don't create it. Now, the one area that I can say that they would say really is something that's not good for you, it will actually, if you are developing psychic skills and that is not good for you, is the white refined sugar. But instead of using that, use brown sugar. Brown sugar is not going to. It's the refined stuff. So staying away from these products with a lot of that white refined sugar, or what's that other, I can't remember what else they call it when you look at the packaging, is one of the things that really, you kind of should not overindulge in that. But if you like sugar in your tea, if you like sugar, whatever, just use brown sugar. It's much better for you. But the biggest thing is your co-creative energies. And if you believe that something is bad for you, you've just made it bad for you. So bless your foods. Grow them, grow if you can, because it's just better for you because you're putting in all the love. And that's what I kind of have to say. But there's a lot more, obviously to it. But I think that's a good basis where to start. And I don't know if there's anybody else out there in the Galactics want to say anything else to that.
Let's see. No, they're actually corroborating what you just said. Oh, really? Henry wants to say something. Okay. And Elam is actually joking and saying, "Oh God, he wants to speak again." Okay. Okay. And he goes, "Yes, the big Viking guy wants to speak." Okay. Let's see. This should be only a couple about minutes, and then I'll get to the last caller. Yes, everybody, the big Viking guy wants to speak tonight. So I will say this on nutrition. There are many symbols in your culture that go ignored and go unnoticed. There are many signs and symbols. I say this repeatedly because observe the world around you. If something looks out of place, it more than likely is out of place. In restaurants where certain emblems are repeated over and over again, this is a sign not to go to that particular restaurant. There are restaurants out there that contain certain chemicals that will, as you say, dumb you down or slow your mental processes or calcify your pineal glands so that the sight and imagination centers will not function. This was a design of the people who believe they are your overlords, when in fact they have no power against you at all if you believe so. You only are a slave if you believe you are a slave, but I digress. In this matter of nutrition, I must insist upon a certain means by which people, I'm not saying should live, but in a world where you have a tyrannical faction that is adding additives to the food, may I recommend that you grow your own food, or at the very least switch to tried and true methods such as vegetables, fruits, and the like. Even though some of these things are engineered, these are actually more easily controllable in regards to energy blessings. Any, say, fast food that you would find, and this one knows quite well what I mean, including also things of high white refined sugars, will damage you in ways that eventually will make you unrepairable at all. So, in this particular respect, grow your own food, but if this is not possible, when you go to the stores, limit the amount of food that you get that is actually, as you would call, unhealthy. Now, this does not negate that you cannot go out to, as you would call, fancy restaurants and have a dessert in your plate. No, this is actually a fine indulgence because these are actually created there, either on the spot or created with better intent. I will not name specific businesses, but people here on the call more than likely know what I am talking about. So, avoid fast food if you can help from it. Grow your own food, but if you cannot, take what is there available that is healthier. But leave room in your life for some indulgence. You must do this because of the fact that play is important and also taste is important as well. I will leave this to your imaginations, dear ones, as to what I am speaking of. Thank you. Well, Jackie, I hope that answers the question. Joanna, did you want to come through with anything else?
No, I'm hoping it helped her.
Okay. Did that help you, Jackie?
Yes, it's a great answer. But since I brought it up, if you, I'll be watching closely for the blog, Joanna, if you're going to write something. And as always, you guys are fantastic, and I don't watch shows or listen to them, but I try to get home on Tuesday nights early to get to you guys. So I think you're fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you, Jackie. Appreciate that.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night. All right. We have one more, and it looks like it's Jim tonight again. So hopefully his line is not malfunctioning this time. We will find out. Okay. Okay. Welcome back, Jim. Uh-oh. Here we go again. I shouldn't have said anything. Okay.
I can't remember what he did last time.
I think I can hear you moving in the background here. Oh, okay. You just muted yourself. Okay. There we go. Okay. You there, Jim? Oh, man. Not again, Jim. But I hate it when this happens. I really do. That's kind of a pain in the bum when this happens. But you can try it one more time, Jim. Let's see.
He just muted himself.
Okay. Okay. You there? Dang. Oh, man. It's either that tablet or that phone of yours. Not dang it, but okay. Okay. You can always ask your question on the comments section later if we can't get this going. We try one more time and see what happens. Okay. Okay. Did I get you this time? Okay.
What is that?
I don't know what this is. I don't know what these lines have against poor Jim here, but okay. Sorry about that, Jim. What you can do is when I upload this to YouTube, put the question in the comments, and I can answer it there. Sorry about that. Okay. This looks like it's the end of the show. So let me see. I'll go to the affirmation and blessing. It looks like actually it's labeled for my mother to read, so I'll have her read it.
Okay, this comes from Balzar, who we heard from tonight. May all feel the power of words' mighty river, as I speak only that of love, togetherness, and above all, choice. Blessings to you all forevermore, Balzar.
Yeah, that was awesome. Joanna, you want to read tonight's announcements?
Sure. Okay. So again, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Let me first remind everyone that we will be on hiatus next week. Again, if you need a show fix, please visit our website. There are plenty of shows to listen to. Go into that library. And again, our website is thelifting2017.wixsite.com/thelifting. This show it will be able to be replayed as soon as it's finished. If you want to call that free conference call replay number, and that's 712-775-7039. You enter the participant code, the same one you used for the live show, and that's 356878, and then you'll be able to listen to the last recorded show. All of the shows are posted on the Lifting website, and Chris will get this one up probably tomorrow because he's been doing pretty darn good about that. Watch for our weekly blog, although, again, next week there won't even be a blog. So we'll post them the following Monday and discuss it further on Tuesday's show. Hopefully between reading the blog and listening to the discussion, you will be able to reflect and ask questions related to the topic or something else if you'd like. If you have any questions after the show, please forward them to thelifting2017@gmail.com. So our next viewer questions show will be on April 27th. We'll choose questions from the audience to answer here, and depending on the volume, we'll try to get to everyone, but we can't guarantee. And if we notice a question being asked by many people, we're going to add it to the FAQ tab. You can always schedule a personal reading from Chris or Katrina by going to the website and clicking into the Appointments tab. And as a reminder, they will not go over a 2-hour reading. But let me also say with this that I am now have the time to be able to help Chris, and I'm trying to help maintain his calendar. So it's going to be really important that everyone who's wanting to work with Chris and get an appointment, they need to email that lifting Gmail account, because I'm the one actually putting the calendars together. There was like 3 separate ways people were reaching Chris, and he's been trying to get them to funnel to one because he may miss you. If you do anything other but use that gmail.com address, you may get missed. So again, you want an appointment, you can go over to the Appointments tab, but you're going to be sending an email to the lifting2017@gmail.com to start setting up those appointments. So, and as one last reminder that neither Chris nor Katrina will go over a 2-hour read in one sitting. So anyway, thanks everybody for joining us tonight on this episode of The Lifting, and we will see you back the Tuesday after next. So I forgot the date. So
April
anyway,
18th.
take care, everybody. Oh, thank you. The 18th. Everybody have a great night. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Good night, everybody.